Why do men not like to vent? What's so wrong with saying how you feel? I'm sure that the comments were filled with men actually expressing themselves, and you'll notice this was posted at the beginning of the day, and here was her tweet at the end of the day, telling him it's okay to vent so you can use his lows against him in the next argument. Like, this is not just like exclusive to this one toxic Becky on the internet. The amount of women who will straight up convince their men that they are a safe place and you can be vulnerable and share your emotions, and then as soon as they get mad, as soon as they're in a fight, that is the first thing that they use against men. You know that when men say things like society doesn't give a fuck about us, most women just like roll their eyes, something else to bitch about. I hope that these women get absolutely no dick. Be vulnerable with your wives. Do not be vulnerable with these bitches. They can't handle it. They're sneaky, slippery little snakes. Thank you.
There's a few things to unpack here. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. No matter how much you love your woman or how good you think she is, you must deal with her with a certain healthy level of distrust. Now, I know this can be taken out of context and people can absolutely take the mick out of that statement. What an oxymoron. What do you mean a healthy level of distrust? Yes, a healthy level of distrust. Why? Because inna kaydahunna azim. Verily their plots and plans are great. As Allah mentions in the Quran with regards to the women in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Their plotting and their planning is extreme, conniving, sly. Women don't like women, bruv. Do you understand this? Women don't like other women. You can have a woman, all right, and she is really close friends with another woman. And they will go out together, they'll have fun together, but behind her back, she'll be like, I can't trust that bitch. I can't trust that bitch. And you know what? She's probably justified as well, because she sees this girl doing things that she knows she shouldn't be doing, but because women are agreeable by nature, this one here doesn't want to say anything, but behind her back, she's like, man, I can't trust that bitch. I can't trust her. And the other one's probably thinking the same thing. Women don't trust other women. I saw a meme not too long ago of I can't even remember how it went exactly. But basically, after a few hours of guys meeting, they're willing to put their lives on the line for each other. But women, they can know each other for a lifetime. They still don't trust each other. They'll still bitch about each other behind each other's back. Understand this. Women don't like other women. Women bitch about other women. Now, what do you think about you opening up and making yourself vulnerable to her? Now, I don't believe that women walk around with this malicious, vindictive intent all day long. I don't believe that. That woman, when she wrote that post in the morning, why don't men vent, open up more and so on, she probably meant it in that moment. And then in the evening, when she wrote the follow-up post, which is, you can use that ish against him, she definitely meant it then as well. You know why? Because women's emotions operate on a moment-to-moment thing. It's a moment-to-moment thing. In this moment, she's feeling, this is why women are useless, hopeless leaders. By and large, generally speaking, don't bring me the exception to the rule, generally speaking, hopeless at leading. And I don't mean that as an insult. You are just not built for it. You're too emotional. And you know, it's what makes you feminine. It's what makes you women in the first place. I wouldn't change a thing about it. It's what makes a woman so feminine. I don't know how else to put it. It's what makes her so womanly. But you need to know what benefit you can take from that and what benefit cannot be taken from that. Accepting a woman for what she can be, and more importantly, what she can't be. Don't open up to her, rude boy. Imagine the president of the United States of America, all right, Biden. He comes onto the stage and he's like addressing his entire nation. And he's like, everyone, I just want to let you know that I think I need to be vulnerable with you guys. I'm really not sure what the direction of the country or where we're going. And, you know, I just wanted to be vulnerable with you and just to let you know that I'm feeling really indecisive and uncertain. And, bruv, can you imagine? You'd get rid of him in a heartbeat. Imagine the general of an army opening up to his lieutenants and troops like that. Imagine the CEO of a company speaking to his subordinates like, guys, I just don't know what to do. What do you think? I'm feeling really like insecure and emotional, and bruv, you are the CEO of your household. You are the general of your household. You are the president of your household. You put your head on the floor and you do all of that emotional stuff and opening up and venting to your Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. But to your woman, very limited with how much you can share with her in that regard. I'm sorry to say, it is what it is.
Why do you support polygamy? The idea of polygamy is very nice. You have 2, 3, 4 wives, halal, you got this one, got that one, got that one. But polygamy isn't just about pleasure. Polygamy is about responsibility, treating them both equally. And I personally don't understand, number one, how you can love more than one woman. Second point, once a man gets married and experiences the responsibility and the pressure and the headache that comes with being a husband and having a wife, any married man that says they want a second wife, a third wife because they want to provide, or they say, oh, this woman, she has kids and her husband passed away and I want to provide for her and her kids, they are talking pure and utter rubbish. The only reason why they want to get married is for their own pleasure, because they want to sleep with another woman. No man who gets married, even if his first wife is from heaven, will think, I want a second wife to provide for.
Hey brother, you been watching my videos? Bruv. Tell the truth now, don't lie.
Ladies, let me put something to bed for you right now. Let me just put this to sleep for you. With reference to polygyny, that brothers only want to marry a second wife or a third wife to fulfill their desires, not for any other altruistic purposes. Take care of the women, the children, so on and so forth. Yes! What the falafel did you think we're doing it for? What do you think we're doing? The only reason, let me make this eminently clear. The only reason a man wants to take on the burden of responsibility of another woman and the household bills and chores and emotions and kids that come from that is primarily, firstly and foremostly, to fulfill his desires. Everything else is secondary. We don't need the love of multiple women. Let me say that again. We don't need the love of multiple women.
He's spitting facts. In the second half of the video. I'll address the first half of the video in a second. And you know what? Let me just be just with my comments on this video right now, because he is our brother, all right? Firstly and foremostly, I would just like to say that I do respect, well, maybe it's contrast effect having an impact on me here, but in light of all the Muslim influencers who love to bring their wives onto their YouTube channels and take the cringiest videos known to mankind ever, I do appreciate, I'm not going to say respect, because I don't like it when Muslim men are bringing their wives on regardless, but I do appreciate that he doesn't put his wife on camera. Even his profile photo, his profile picture, his wife's face is completely blanked out. And I appreciate that. I don't respect it because I don't think she should just be in the picture in the first place, but it's an indication to me of his ghira for his woman, of his, that pride that he has for his woman. So I appreciate that. So to address the second part of the video, he's absolutely right. Any of you, man, who say, I want to get married again because I really want to provide for her. Brother, why do you have to marry her? Just provide for her. Why do you have to do a nikah with her to provide for her? You're feeling really generous and altruistic? Great. I know 50 families right now that I can put you in touch with, all of them single mums for whatever reason, whether they're divorcees or widows and so on. And I can put you in touch, in fact, with an entire organization who deals with these women, and they'd be happy for you to support them. No need to marry them. What do you need to marry them for? Come on, brother, stop playing now. The primary motive, the primary driving force behind a man marrying a woman is sexual variety. Stop the funkin' cap, bruv. Please. And that is perfectly fine. Absolutely fine. The secondary motives will obviously be taking care of her and so on. And these are things that, you should want to do regardless. But any man who says that his primary motive is to take care of her, stop the cap. You don't need to marry her to do that. You lying. This is what we call the sneaky futter strategy. That is the sneaky.
I want to take care of a woman because she needs help.
No, brother, she doesn't need your ding dong. Well, maybe she does. But the type of help that you're referring to does not require your ding dong. It requires your wallet. It doesn't need to come as part of the package. Wallet, ding dong, which is what you're looking for. Now, to address the first part of the video, I don't know personally how a man can love more than one woman. This is a really strong indication to me that our brother here, Halu Aziz, I don't know what his real name is, Aziz maybe, He has a strong case of one-itis, first of all. One-itis is where you really idealize a woman. Usually, it's the first woman a man has ever fallen in love with. But frankly speaking, from day dot, I've always been polygynous, bruv. So I think, like, regardless, other factors are at play, frankly speaking. Testosterone level will definitely reflect your polygynous desire or polygynous tendencies or tastes or appetite. Men with lower testosterone levels, and again, I'm not saying anything about our brother here. I've seen videos on his page. He does have a bit of a dad bod going on. Only Allah knows how much he exercises and works out. You know, I can get a feel for the testosterone level of a man just by how he looks at me. How he shakes my hand. He doesn't even need to shake my hand. Just by how he looks at me. How he presents and carries himself. Does he hold himself straight? Is there a steely look in his eye? I can get a good measure on a man's testosterone level. Literally, his virility, how virile he is, just by how he presents himself. Equally, I can get a good pulse on a man who is lacking in that department by the way he carries himself. There's a lack of a steely look in his eye. There's a lack of sharpness in how he carries himself. It's not connected to physical look, by the way. It's something in the eye. You can tell this man, he's got that fire, or he doesn't. So whenever a man says to me that, you know, statements like this, I don't know how I could ever love another woman and so on. My only conclusion is that there's some lack of testosterone in the body. It's not just one-itis. It's not just because it's the first woman that she's ever fallen in love with, he's ever fallen in love with. There's something else going on there. Or he thinks that he will win the favor of other women by peddling this notion, which just brings us back to point A, which is sneaky futter strategy. Win the affections of a woman by mimicking the beliefs and sentiments of women. And a woman can smell that BS from a mile off. Gentlemen, it doesn't work. I know you think it does, but it really doesn't. Just go onto my channel and write sneaky futter, but spell it properly, strategy. Yeah, I got a whole live stream on that. Going through that, how men try to mimic the sentiments and opinions and beliefs of a woman in the hope that she might take a liking to him.
You now have the male feminist. Like, where the fuck did that come from? Just out of nowhere, last couple years. I'm a male feminist. I've always championed women. No, you haven't. You haven't. Anytime I hear a guy say I'm a male feminist, I always just think that is the most pathetic, limp dick way ever to try and get some pussy, right? Like, that is literally the fucking game you had when you were on a first date when you were 16. You were all nervous and your whole game plan was just agree with her. Maybe she'll touch it.
Nothing could be further from the truth. She'd be lesbian, bruv. She would be lesbian if that was the case. She likes you precisely because you have different ideals, beliefs, sentiments, and so on, even if on the surface she disagrees. Even if on the surface she disagrees. And if we agree with most women that good men are few and far between and hard to come by, then would you not also agree then that these good men who do exist need to be shared? How can one woman have a whole good man to herself? Whatever you define as good man. If we agree with the general female sentiment, which is good men are hard to come by and few and far between, and there may well be a lot of truth to that. Certainly from an economic perspective, a man being able to take on multiple women, those men are definitely few and far between. Not taking into account whether he's actually good or not. But if we agree that such men are few and far between, then I would say that it's not only something he should consider of taking on multiple women, but rather it is selfish upon him and his wife to remain monogamous. Selfish. Why? Because there are other women who could also benefit from this good man.
Олег, я говорил, Олег, блядь. Не провоцируй. Че, сука ебаная. Олег, уйди. Уйди оттуда. Не провоцируй, я, блядь, говорил же тебе, блядь.
I don't know what country this is in, yeah? It sounded a bit Russian, but I swear she was like, come, hit me, come. So she must be English. Flipping chav. And then she just gets smacked back to factory settings, rude boy. You know when you drop your phone and you drop it so hard, it just goes back to factory settings. She literally done a whole 180. She went from hella masculine to crazy feminine, just like that. Silence. Absolute silence. And let's have a look at what some of the comments are saying. Jackie Galloway, sounds like a woman's name. She says, I love the simp comments. As a man, you shouldn't. Shut up. No woman is going to drop their panties for you with that BS. Woof! Sneaky fodder strategy 101. I told you these women can sniff it from a mile off. That eyewitness saw nothing but Newton's law of gravitational force in play. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Bruh, her whole attitude just changed in a matter of seconds of sitting on that floor. Chelsea Bowles says, I don't care. Another woman, by the way. Yeah, pay attention. She deserved it. She probably knew who she was dealing with and decided to test them waters. Been there, done that. I'm no victim at all. I knew what the F I was doing and who I was dealing with. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Shout out to you, Chelsea. You know, there is a real change in the air right now. There's a change in the zeitgeist. There is a change in the sentiment towards masculine and feminine roles and male and female rights and so on. 5 years ago, you would have just seen a whole bunch of comments insulting, tearing apart that guy for, you know, smacking that woman off her feet, which is basically what he did. It's exactly what he did. Now, the comments are a lot more balanced, which I find very interesting. Now, my personal view on whether a woman should experience this or not, it's very simple. If you're going to raise your hand to a man, expect him to raise his hand back at you. If I go and poke a bear, all right, I can't expect the bear to poke me back with equal force. For equal force, the bear is going to poke me, rip me apart with all of his unrestrained strength and power. Now, we're not animals, I get it. Okay? We're not animals, we are in more control of our emotions than an animal. However, we're still emotional. You humiliated him. It's an act of humiliation in front of other men. Either now he suffers the humiliation of you smacking him in front of other men, or he suffers the humiliation or potential humiliation, and it would appear that it's not the case, of smacking you back. So you put a man in a real quandary when you do this. When you smack him, you put him in a quandary because it's lose-lose. I know what option I'm choosing. What option are you choosing? Let me know in the comments.